Last fall, my wife and I tallied up what came out of the perennial corner of my homestead. The asparagus bed, the rhubarb patch, the berry rows, the herbs that come back every year without me lifting a finger. Just over 400 pounds of food from ground I planted once and have barely touched since. Today I want to walk you through 25 perennial food plants that, once they are in, will feed you for decades. Eli used to say, the smartest day in the garden is the day you plant something you will never have to plant again. Stay with me to the end, because the one at number 1 is a plant most folks walk right past at the nursery, and it outproduced everything else in my garden last year. Before I get into the list, let me tell you how I narrowed it down. Every plant on the list has to clear 3 bars. It has to be genuinely perennial in Zone 6B, which is what we deal with here in Lancaster County. It has to live at least 10 years from one planting, and it has to produce edible food at meaningful scale. Not a sprig, not a garnish, real food. Each one contributed to that 400-pound tally from the perennial corner last fall. I'll count down from 25 to 1. Alliums and herbs up top. Root and shoot plants in the high teens. Soft fruits in the teens. Larger fruiting plants in the single digits. Plant these in the next 4 to 6 weeks, and your grandchildren will still be eating off them. Number 25, Egyptian walking onions. I pushed the first top sets into the ground here one October about 30 years ago, and that same row is still feeding us. You plant the little bulblets that form at the top of the stalk, 1 inch deep, and you have onions every spring for the rest of your life. I cut the green tops from April on. Right next to them sits the herb I have divided more times than I can count. Number 24, chives. I bought 1 nursery pot in 1996, and I have divided that original clump 6 times over the years. 6 clumps from 1. They flower purple in May, the bees come from everywhere, and I cut the greens 4 or 5 times a season. If you only ever plant 1 perennial herb, plant chives. They forgive everything. Number 23, garlic chives. Hardy through Zone 5 without complaint, and they give you 2 harvests in 1 plant, the flat green leaves all summer for stir fries and eggs, and the white flower heads in late August that the pollinators tear through. I let them seed a little because the seedlings are easy to pull where I don't want them. Number 22, lovage. 1 plant, 5 feet tall, and it tastes more like celery than celery does. I use the stalks for soup, the leaves for stock, and the seeds dried for a kind of homemade celery salt. 1 plant feeds my kitchen all season. Most folks have never heard of it, which is exactly the kind of plant that ends up on a list like this. Number 21, French tarragon. The trick with this one is you have to buy root divisions, never seed. Seed-grown tarragon is the Russian kind, and it tastes like wet grass. French tarragon is propagated only by division, so look for a plant labeled French at a real herb nursery, not the discount rack. Mine has been in the same spot for 11 years. Number 20, oregano. I grow the Greek variety, which holds its flavor through drying better than any of the Italian strains I tried. I cut it 3 times a season, once in June, once in late July, once before frost, and hang it in bundles in my drying closet. 1 4-foot patch keeps the kitchen stocked for the year. Number 19, thyme. English thyme is what I keep. It does one thing you have to know. After about year 4, the stems go woody and the new growth slows down. So in spring of year 4 or 5, I cut the whole plant back to 2 inches from the ground and let it regrow fresh. That renewal cut buys me another 4 years out of the same plant. Number 18, mint. Here is the rule on mint. Never plant it in open ground unless you want it to take the entire homestead. I learned that one the hard way. Now I bury a 5-gallon bucket with the bottom cut out, fill it with soil, and plant the mint inside. Contained, productive, and I have a tea harvest from April through October. Number 17, sage. One plant from a 4-inch pot fed my kitchen for 12 years before it finally went woody enough that I had to replace it. 12 years from one plant. I use it fresh for poultry through the fall and dry the rest. If you plant one, give it a dry spot. Sage hates wet feet more than almost anything else on this list. Number 16, horseradish. Plant it once, and you will fight it forever. But you will also never run out. Eli used to laugh at me trying to dig every last piece out of a corner I had given up on. He told me once that horseradish was the only crop you could not kill with neglect or with effort. I dig the roots in October after the first hard frost and grate them fresh for sauce. Number 15, the Jerusalem artichoke, sometimes called the sunchoke. 8-foot stalks with sunflower heads in September, and underground you have got pounds and pounds of knobby tubers. I dig them after frost, when the cold sweetens the starch into something almost nutty. Treat them like potatoes that you never have to replant. One bed has been producing for 22 years. Number 14, asparagus. My bed is one of the 14 by 40 layouts Eli's father used, and it is going on 22 years in the same spot. Last spring, it gave us about 35 pounds of spears across a 6-week cut. That is a serious haul from one planting, and it still got outproduced last year by what is coming at number 1. Stay with me. Number 13, rhubarb. 3 crowns is plenty for a household. The one rule Eli used to drill into me was never harvest a rhubarb plant in its first year. Let it build the crown. Year 2, you take a few stalks. Year 3, you can pull steady. I have got crowns that are pushing 30 years old, and they still throw pink stalks thicker than my thumb every May. Number 12, June-bearing strawberries. Most folks let a strawberry row run until it chokes itself out. The trick I picked up is to renovate every 3rd year. Mow the bed down to 2 inches right after the last harvest in June. Thin the runners to the strongest few, and the row comes back stronger. 3 pounds a week through June from one 20-foot row. Number 11, raspberries. I grow the fall-bearing heritage variety because they fruit on first-year cane, which means I can mow the whole patch to the ground every March and skip the pruning headache. Ruth, Eli's widow, sent over a basket of hers last August that was twice the size of mine, but I am catching up. The simplest fruit on the homestead once it is in. Number 10, thornless blackberries. I trellis mine on a cattle panel staked between 2 T-posts. The thornless varieties give you fruit you can actually pick without bleeding for it. I get about 12 pounds off a single 10-foot row, and the canes have been there since 2014. Number 9, high bush blueberries. I have 3 bushes. The whole secret is pH. Blueberries want their soil between 4.5 and 5.0, which is acidic. I top dress with elemental sulfur every spring and mulch with pine needles. Get the pH right and they fruit for 40 years. Get it wrong and they sulk forever. Number 8, currants. I grow black currants for syrup and red currants for jelly. 2 completely different flavors from plants that look almost identical and want the same treatment. Both are largely ignored in American gardens, which is a shame because they ripen in early July when nothing else is ready, and they keep producing for 20+ years. Number 7, gooseberries. The variety I keep is called Captivator, which is near thornless and a lot easier to harvest than the old European types. The berries go from green and tart to deep red and sweet over about 3 weeks in July. I make a gooseberry pie every year that my wife waits 11 months for. Number 6, elderberry. 2 bushes is enough. They need a second variety for pollination, but you do not need a thicket of them. I harvest the umbels in late August when they go fully purple-black, and we cook them down for syrup. And I will tell you, after going through this list, I still think most folks would not guess what is coming at number 1. We talked about strawberries at 12. This beats them by weight. Number 5, hardy kiwi. The Arctic variety I planted is hardy down past minus 20 degrees, which is more than Lancaster County throws at us in a hard winter. You need a male and a female plant. One male will pollinate up to 8 female. The fruit is grape-sized, smooth-skinned, and you eat it whole. Most people have never tasted one. Number 4, pawpaw. I planted one tree along the south fence about 15 years ago. The fruit ripens in September, and it tastes like a cross between a banana and a mango. Custard texture, tropical flavor, grown in Pennsylvania. Pawpaws are native to this region, but almost nobody plants them. The deer leave them alone, which is half the battle. Number 3, American hazelnut. You need 2 bushes for cross-pollination, but once they are established, the deer leave them alone, which, on my property, puts them in a small club. The nuts ripen in September, and I get about 4 pounds off each bush. Plant once, harvest for 40 years. Number 2, apples. My orchard is 6 trees on the south edge of the property. 2 I will call out by name. A Stamen winesap that keeps in the root cellar until March, and a Yorking that bakes into the best pie I have ever eaten. Apple trees take 5 or 6 years to start producing seriously, but once they hit stride, they will outlive you. Now, what I have shared with you today is a real piece of the puzzle, but it is still just one piece. If you are tired of fighting the same battles every season, if you want a garden that actually works with you instead of against you, then I would really encourage you to check out the guide I put together. It is called the 30-Day Amish Self-Sufficient Garden Protocol. And it is everything I have learned from my Amish neighbors over the last 3 decades, organized into a simple day-by-day plan you can start this season. It covers the full 5 defense layers to build a garden that defends itself from the soil up. It has got the complete 4-bed crop rotation system that stops disease and pests before they ever get a foothold. And it includes the companion planting field guide, so you know exactly what to grow next to what and why. So click the link in the description right below this video. Just scroll down a little and you will see it. Or alternatively, if you are watching on a television or a computer screen, you can take out your phone, open up your camera like you are going to take a picture, and hold it up to the QR code you see on screen right now. A little link will pop up at the top of your phone screen. Just tap that, and it will bring you right to the guide. No typing, no searching. Either way works. I think it is the best investment you can make in your garden this year. All right, let's get to number 1. And the one I think most folks would never guess, even though it is sitting right in front of them at every nursery in the spring. Number 1, French sorrel, Rumex acetosa. Years back, I think it was 2012, my wife asked me to pick up a sorrel plant at a roadside nursery because she wanted to try a French sourgrass soup she had read about. I paid $4 for a plant in a small pot, brought it home, and stuck it in a 4x4 corner of the herb bed because I genuinely did not know what else to do with it. I figured it would die over the winter, and that would be that. It did not die. It came back the next April, then the April after that, and every April since. Now, here is the part I want you to hold on to. Last fall, when my wife and I were tallying up what came out of the perennial corner, that one 4x4 patch of sorrel, one $4 plant, came in at right around 32 pounds of cut greens for the year. By weight of usable harvested food, that little patch outproduced my asparagus bed at number 14. It outproduced my rhubarb crowns at number 13. It outproduced the strawberry row at number 12. From one plant in a corner the size of a small dog bed. The reason it works is the cadence. Sorrel cuts every 10 to 14 days from late April through hard frost, and it never slows down. You take the whole plant down to 2 inches, and 10 days later, it is ready again. Lemon bright flavor, halfway between spinach and lemon zest. Perfect in soups, in cream sauces for fish, chopped fine into a green salad. And the reason most folks walk right past it at the nursery is the label. The plastic tag says culinary herb, which makes the shopper assume it is a fussy garnish you use a tablespoon of in a recipe twice a summer. The truth is, it is a cut and come again leafy crop that lives well past 10 years from one planting. Eli used to say the smartest day in the garden is the day you plant something you will never have to plant again. Of every plant on this list, the cheapest, smallest, most overlooked one in the corner proved that lesson better than any of the big name perennials. Now, if everything I have shared today resonates with you and you want to take this further than one video can take you, I would really encourage you to check out the guide I put together. It is called the 30-Day Amish Self-Sufficient Garden Protocol, and it is everything I have learned from my Amish neighbors over the last 3 decades, organized into a simple day-by-day plan you can start this season. It covers the full 5 defense layers to build a garden that defends itself from the soil up. It has got the complete 4-bed crop rotation system that stops disease and pests before they ever get a foothold. And it includes the companion planting field guide, so you know exactly what to grow next to what and why. Now, there are 2 easy ways to grab it. The first way is to click the link in the description right below this video. Just scroll down a little and you will see it. The second way, if you are watching on a television or a computer screen, is to take out your phone, open up your camera like you are going to take a picture, and hold it up to the QR code you see on screen right now. A little link will pop up at the top of your phone screen. Just tap that, and it will bring you right to the guide. No typing, no searching, either way works. I think it is the best investment you can make in your garden this year. Those are the 25 perennials I would plant first if I were starting a homestead over from scratch tomorrow. Every one of them contributed to that 400-pound tally last fall, and everyone will be doing the same thing 20 and 30 years from now. Pick 1 or 2 and get them in the ground this fall or next spring. If you do not know where to start with the sorrel. $4 and a corner of dirt is a small risk for a 10-year payoff. In the next video, I am going to walk you through exactly how I prep an asparagus bed from scratch. The soil work, the layout, the depth, so you can put one in this fall and harvest from it for 20 years. Down in the comments, let me know which one of these 25 you would plant first. I would love to hear it. Thanks for spending some time with me today. I will see you in the next one.